For the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the PopCulturists PlayStation Podcast. With 40 years of playing PlayStation and 10 plus years that games to be combined, I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation Conversation.
This PlayStation Conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, come and check out our socials: Facebook, Discord, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you use. All those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturists, where you can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation Pod. If you are listening on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe to the comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can. Patreon.com/thepopculturists, as well as our merchandise store, popculturists.com shop, where you buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. But let's kick the show off with good old PSA. Our review of Marvel Spider-Man Deuce is up. It's on the interwebs, on this YouTube channel, on this podcast feed. You will hear a review discussion with myself, the Max, the Paul James. Great chat, followed up by a spoiler discussion, same three people. You will also get to see the opening sequence of me playing with my 6-year-old son. That was adorable. He was so happy. It's one of the best things you ever see. And then on top of that, an unboxing video of this. I've no idea how to actually put him because he's just so gianiferous. There you go. There's a all the Venoms. Big Venom statue. Unboxing the Collector's Edition is on the YouTube channels as we speak. Now, Max, what do you think?
It's cool.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? It's fucking so huge. Like, it really is. Like, it's one of those things where I was kind of thinking to myself, just for like a joke, little fun series of tweets, would be, here are things that this Venom statue is bigger than. And it's like, this stein full of water, an entire PS3, it's like my child's torso, just listing a bunch of things that this statue is bigger than, because it's such a fucking beast. That was my idea. I didn't do it because even in theory it's only entertaining like twice, and then it stops being fun anymore. But yeah, look, now the rumblings are all done around the Spider-Man, at least for us. It's great to see people are enjoying it, are playing it. Received a lovely couple of messages about people sort of experiencing the game as they're playing it. Hitting me up and going, "Oh man, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm glad you're digging it. So fucking cool. Have a good time. Enjoy yourself," which is good. But yeah, how are you finding this post release time, Max?
It's I mean, we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, I think, that it's really weird that this game is now everywhere and we're not playing it because we're done with it.
Yeah, look, that is like unapologetically weird. It's the idea of so I just dicked with my camera because I went from a green hue to a slightly pink view because like it's just the green was too bad. Yeah, it is interesting because like I've come to learn I'm like the top 25 people to platinum it in the world according to PSN profiles, which is an opt-in service, so there's possibly more. Just one step behind Greg Miller at the time. I was 23rd, he was 22nd, which was impressive in and of itself. But yeah, so you haven't platinumed it yet, so
probably won't either. I only platinum things accidentally.
Oh, it's true. It's true. And I guess you want to do all the collectibles that come with it to get it done. But look, let's take advantage of that and let's have a little bit of a discussion around the conversation of Spider-Man at the moment. What are you seeing on your feeds? How is the Spoods conversation happening for you?
I actually only know one of my friends who's currently playing it. So
Really?
yeah. So friend of the show, Cass, he's
Yeah.
been holding off because he's a huge Assassin's Creed fan,
Mm.
and he's like, I want Mirage, but like Spider-Man's coming out in like a week or two. He's like, I think I'm just gonna wait for Spider-Man and then maybe pick up Mirage later. So he's been playing the shit out of Spider-Man. He's really enjoying it. But other than that, like a lot of the people that I'm seeing, I know have already played it.
Yeah. Oh, I get that.
Like another friend of mine, Zell. His son really wants to play, but he's like, I don't know if I want to spend $125 on a game.
Yeah, or just in general, just period, right? Like that's a
Yeah,
lot.
like on any game. So I'm like, yeah, I get that. I'm like, it's really good, but I also didn't have to pay for it because PlayStation Australia provided us a copy of the code for review. So it's a really hard the game's great. It is definitely a must play, but you know, is it one of those things that I personally I probably would have rushed out and bought it day one. I mean, you still did.
I still did. I still bought it.
So yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah, so like for me, it's interesting. Like I'm gonna fuck with this thing because the coloring's annoying me at the moment. It really wants to go green for some reason, but that's okay. Pardon me. I've really I enjoyed the game obviously, and like I pull up my PlayStation app when I'm on my console, and I'm seeing like minimum five people playing at any given time. Now my friends list isn't exhaustive, right? So it's not huge, so that's okay. But like it's like, oh, there's clearly a good hunk of people playing it that I know, and in terms of like this fucking color's annoying me now. So whoa, what the fuck are you doing now? Getting super blue. That's weird. We'll go that one. With my social feeds, like what I'm seeing is weirdly a lot of like the bugs and a lot of things about it that are not doing well. But it's also surrounded because I'm doing in the for you of Twitter, which is dangerous to begin with because I'm an idiot. And it's just mostly, look at all the bugs in this game, and it's essentially like just Xbox people shitting on it, claiming Starfield's better, and then the other side, it's a bunch of PlayStation people shitting on it, saying shitting on Starfield, saying Spider-Man's better, but they are two completely uncomparable games. And I don't know whether it's just because of the frequency of it appearing in my echo chamber of my socials, but like this console war nonsense really has seemed to have escalated. Or is that just me?
No, I think it has to a degree.
I don't want I think this acquisition stuff has really fueled that tribalism further for some reason. Because when you start restricting things from other people, like that us versus them really kind of comes together. Jerdman in the chat, beautiful human Jerdman, recently got himself Twitch partner. Shout out to Jerdman. Couldn't care less about the console bullshit, and I'm in the same boat. We're in the same boat. And that's the fun part, right? Is like we have a show that is literally, about our preferred brand, but we don't engage in the console nonsense. We call PlayStation out. We call Microsoft out. I've shat on both of them many times, and I will continue to do so because if shitty things are done or things that I disagree with, I'm gonna poop on them. Dem's the rules. But yeah, no, it's one of the things that's been most interesting. We've got it does kind of sort of where we sit in terms of we would rank it like what was it, a 9? We'd probably give it. The idea of everything about it's really good, except it's technically there's a couple of shit things that we're dealing with. But we were playing pre day one patch, and in the time that I've played it since, I haven't had any issue personally. Jared in the chat asked, "Is Spider-Man worth a buy?" Yes, it is. That's a question. Like if you like the first one, if you liked Miles Morales, you liked the DLC, then you'll dig it. If you like PlayStation doing their story-driven action adventure games, then you're in. If you loved the traversal of the previous, then yeah, this is what you need to play because it dials all those things up and makes it better in everything you could have critiqued the game on previously. They have taken into consideration and made the game better. Outside of technical hiccups, which they will be resolved near immediately, is from my understanding. But yeah, no, it's been interesting to sort of see the different spaces, see some great screenshots coming out of it, lots of cool photo mode stuff. The activation, the installation they did at in Sydney for the game with PlayStation Australia, where they got like a moving van and like crammed it on its front and hung it up by webs, looked awesome. And then they paid a bunch of actors to come be NPCs and then wander around and say repeated dialogue and like walk in as shit, and it looked awesome. I wish we lived in Sydney for that one moment, because Melbourne rules pretty much most every other time. But like, be able to go down there and have a dick about would have been really cool. But outside of that, Max, now that Spider-Man is in our rearview mirror, but of course, let us know what you think about Spider-Man's in the comments below, or hit us up on the socials. Links are below our faces or in the description. What have you been playing?
So this week, I rolled credits on a few games.
Yeah.
So again, shout out to 5-Star Games for providing me a copy of the code for Lords of the Fallen. I rolled credits on that this week.
Mm.
So Lords of the Fallen again is the new Souls-like, where the gimmicky mechanic is you have what they refer to as the Umbral Lantern, which allows you to peer into the Umbral realm or the Death realm, and it completely changes the way the world of the game works. So you have the Axiom realm, which is the realm of the living, and the Umbral realm is the realm of the Death. So the gimmick is if you die, when you die, you go to the Death realm. You can continue on. You kind of get one free respawn, and then once you die in the Umbral, you're dead for good. And that's when you lose all your souls and you respawn at the checkpoints, do all that fun stuff. So the overview story of the game is that the demon lord Arden is trying to regain his power and come back and resurrect himself. And you're just like, how about no, my man? And you're trying to stop him. So you're essentially, going out hunting down the gatekeepers, trying to. Whoa, you went real dark then. So
I'm just messing about with shit now.
So I have done one of the 3 endings.
Yeah.
I did the what they refer to as the good ending or the radiant ending. So I was a good guy the whole way through. On a difficulty scale, it's definitely not the hardest, but it's harder than the more recent Souls-like games like Lies of P. Definitely easier than Elden Ring.
That's good.
Just having that free respawn does give you gives you a little bit of an extra go around, especially during boss fights, because you that one free respawn if you got too greedy at the end and you've just right as they're about to go down, they pimp slap you to tomorrow. I played the entire game co-op. So they've done away with the essential like FromSoft style where you put down a summon sign, then you have to find your friend's summon sign to spawn them in. In this, you just go to a vestige, which is their version of the bonfires, and you just go, I want my friend to join, and you send them an invite. And then they just accept the invite and they come in. They don't get kicked back to their own world after a boss fight. They don't get kicked back to their own world if you die. Everyone just respawns together. It's a really cool, seamless way to do co-op in that style of game. I have since started the game again to do some of the other endings. I am not playing New Game Plus because New Game Plus in this game is fucking brutal. So how it works is one of the other mechanics is there's a checkpoint system where you can plant seeds in the Umbral world in flower beds to create your own personal checkpoints. In New Game Plus, you can only use these. The vestiges of the bonfires don't work, so there's no fast traveling anymore. You can only ever have one checkpoint active at a time. So it makes things really, really difficult. And the enemy scaling kind of gets jacked way up out of proportion, in my opinion. So I've just started a completely new game. I unlocked a new character when I got the good ending, so I'm playing through as the new character, the class type, which is cool. Performance-wise, the game runs like a hot mess. a lot of the time, even in performance mode. If there's too much stuff on screen, the game just like, nah, sorry, dude, and just pieces out.
Really?
The game has hard crashed on me so many times. It's not funny. Like it's brutal. I know they've pushed a performance patch on PC. We haven't got it yet on PlayStation, and I know that the Xbox version runs even worse than the PlayStation version. So I can't even imagine how people are playing it over there, because it's rough. I'm probably averaging at least one crash per gaming session on it. Some I've had upwards of 3 or 4.
Very rough indeed.
And that's on
crap.
performance, and that's on performance mode,
Yeah.
not quality. So yeah, it's rough. Now, granted, it's essentially it essentially has to run.
I'm bored of standing today. I'm gonna sit down.
It's essentially got to render in 2 worlds at the same time, because it's a seamless transition between like the living and the dead realm. Like there's no load screen when you change it, so it has to render everything in the background. So I can't imagine how crazy that is for it to do. And I would assume that is the big issue that's probably holding it back.
I would imagine so, because like I remember we discussed this last time with Dishonored 2, like how heavy it was to be able to fuck with those 2 worlds at the same time, and that was on PS4, and even then, like that, from memory, excuse me, Dishonored 2 did have a little bit of like performance issues because of that.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a cool system. It's a cool game. It's good fun, but yeah, it does have some performance issues. But like I said, I rolled credits. I really enjoyed my time with it. If you like Souls-like and you like playing them co-op, this is one of the best games for it, because the co-op is so seamless. Yeah, had a blast with it.
Nice, very nice. Now I do apologize in advance as I'm sitting here yawning and stuff. As Max alluded to at the start, I believe it was in the recording, I went out last night to be social. I went to an emo night here in Geelong. It was Emo-ween. It was like a Halloween-themed emo night. And I very quickly realized I'm old, and I was one of the oldest people in the room. And I got home at like 3, and I'm tired. And yeah, so as the Mullet Show, who also has been subscribed for 67 months, almost a nice. Pardon me. Yeah, like, so we did a little bit of dress up as well, because it's a Halloween party. I've never really done a Halloween party before, like with the dress up side of things. So Ange, a friend of the show, housemate, dude that lives in one of my rooms of my house, so they were like, oh, they wanted to go all out. So they dressed up like Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas. And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, well, what if will you have a pair of black jeans? I'm like, sure. So we cut them up, made like little fur things underneath them to get like this werewolfy sort of look. And then put black tee on, got a red and black flannelette, rolled them up, did the nails, because that's the given with the emos. And then got his partner or his mate to paint like big gash across my face. Looked like I've been werewolfed. I essentially bloodied my hands up to my elbows. It looked insane. Yeah, and then we went out and met some cool people, had a good night, and then they were very smart about it, right? They started the night with all the scene music, which is past my time, but then they back ended the night with all the good tunes, all like the good pop punks, the good metal, the good like emo tunes. So it was like, yeah, waiting until like the good shit, and when that kicked in. And the other advantage of also being really old and not having to really impress anyone at these things, I went there with my partner, like Phoebe came and she decked out too. And it's like that, because I never went clubbing or anything when I was younger. I didn't really go out when I was younger. And even when I did, because I was always single at the time, just had that, that's like, well, you wouldn't know. You and Ali have been together since you were like 7 or something. There's always like, oh man, like, do I got to impress? Like, because I've always been like full of fucking anxiety and like poor confidence. To be able to like completely throw that off and just not fucking care, it was really good fun. Really, really good fun. Would I do it again? I'm in no rush, because I could have a little shindig at my house with the same music for cheaper, and I could go to bed when I wanted to. So I'm probably going to do that, because my birthday is coming up. It's a long weekend. probably gonna have a shindig. I'll have my own. I'll have Betson's emo birthday. Maybe. I like the idea. So yeah, so I'm fucking tired, and I'm just gonna be like probably yawning and shit throughout. Reverend Puck and the constant color changing of Ryan's camera is his version of Willy Wonka's song. There is no way of knowing. Yeah, it's us going down the tunnel and shit's just getting crazy. It's because like after PAX, the settings got all fucked in the camera, and I'm trying to get it. But I had such a good balance. I had it perfectly leveled before we went, and I was like, yeah, I'll just put everything on automatic, and then I'll remember what was on. Didn't remember what it was on. Couldn't tell you.
Classic.
And now it's shit. But yeah. So that's what I've been doing this weekend. So I'm all fucking tired and yawny. Oh, shit.
Well, I also rolled credits on Baldur's Gate 3.
Way, finally.
Finally.
I've been playing a game too, but we'll talk about Baldur's Gate first.
That was rad. So Cass and I for the last 2 weeks we took a break last weekend. This week I'm like, let's finish it. We were pretty sure we were right at the end, and then it ended up taking us about 3 hours to get through.
Yeah.
And it was just two combat encounters left. That's all we had to do. It took us 3 hours. It's crazy. Game's mint. I've had such a blast over the past it came out in August, so past 2 months. It was kind of that it was our weekend game. We'd put aside one night, would just go hard. I played essentially the entire range of classes that you can pick from Baldur's Gate 3, which is like all the D&D classes I played at one point or another. Ranked top 2,
or 3 even, I don't care.
Warlock's really strong, like ridiculously strong.
Is this the way that you like to play? Because you're a brutal min maxer. You're like fucking shit.
Well, my brutal min maxing kind of ran away with me when I made a monk fighter with no weapons, and I was dealing like on average 150 damage per turn.
Yeah,
with just my fists. Yeah. So I made like I think I essentially triple classed. Made a monk rogue fighter, so I'd get 2 attacks from being a monk, and then I'd get 2 bonus attacks for being a rogue, and then an extra attack for being a fighter, and then I would action search and do all 5 attacks again. So I'd attack 10 times per turn.
You suck.
And then
for context,
every time
Max is the worst person to play tabletop games with.
And then because I had my unarmed strike still dealt an extra 10
shift yourself
force damage.
To the right a smidge? There you go. You're unframed.
Yeah, because all my unarmed damage dealt extra force damage per turn. I was essentially doing a guaranteed minimum 80 damage of force damage per turn on top of whatever I rolled for my unarmed strikes. Beautiful.
You suck.
Well,
you don't. You're actually great at these games, but
the ending was like hard. We kind of cheesed it a little bit. Essentially, what I had to do was I had to channel an ability for an entire turn, without being interrupted. So I couldn't take any damage. I couldn't have any status effects, and there was about 20 odd enemies to go between like my turn and my turn again. So Cass cast a spell called Sanctuary on me, which makes me untargetable until I cause damage to someone. So I just ran up and started channeling, and no one could target me with anything. So we kind of skipped what appeared to have been a very difficult combat encounter. But I mean, it's in the game. So
it's not breaking the rules if it's in the game, according to me.
But we had a blast. I'm keen to play through it again. Make different decisions. See where it differs, because there's like a bajillion different endings, and there's definitely some things that we missed that I'd love to do. But yeah, the game's absolutely fantastic and well worth the money, because you just get so much you get so much bang for your buck with Baldur's Gate. It's just so far it is my game of the year this year. And I don't think that will change.
Yeah, I can certainly see for many why it would be their number one. It's probably gonna be number one for a lot of people.
I mean, it just gives you so much player agency, like that you can do almost anything you want to in that game. So it's good.
Nice. Well, I myself have not been playing Baldur's Gate, even though I've bought it and I made my character, and then I did the first like 15 minutes and then sort of got distracted and wandered off. But it's interesting. So once I'd wrapped Spider-Man, I was like, oh, we after we did our spoiler chat the other day, we pulled up the games that are coming out the rest of the month, and I went, oh shit, I forgot that game's coming out. No, wait. Emailed some people. Bing. Next day, in comes the code. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's play that. Nah. I've been doing, yeah. It's like a game that I'm like incredibly keen on. And like the embargo's day of this goes up. I have no idea what time, so I won't say anything. But it's crazy because I should be playing that. It does tickle my fancy in all the best ways. But instead, I've spent the entire time playing Alan Wake Remastered, which is crazy. So, hang on, where's the email that tells me the thing? Where is it? Oh yeah, no, I can't talk about it yet.
I'll bury the lead on a quick bit.
Yeah,
because you brought up Alan Wake. There is a refresher game called Alan Wake. Where is it? Alan Wake Flashback, which you can play inside of Fortnite. Created.
Oh, I saw a meme of that. Like, I saw a picture of it like just before the show started. But yeah, no, I'm not going to play it that way. I'm going to play it. And this is the thing. So, Alan Wake Remastered came out a while ago. I want to say back end of 2021, right? That's where it checks out in my head. Or like, yeah, or around there, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to find it. 4th of October 2021.
Beautiful. There we go. Because I distinctly remember like getting it when I was living with you for that short window of time, and I was like, oh, this should tickle my fancy, but it didn't. It just didn't grab me at the time, and probably because I had a bunch of other personal things going on at the time, it didn't really give me my attention. However, playing it now, like, also I think a little bit of applaud to Spider-Man for giving me this little reinvigoration on the games, because now I'm playing it and I'm adoring it. There are some things about Alan Wake Remaster that really show its age. Some of the camera models are jank. The character models, I should say. Everything moves a little floatily. But it has like a really solid foundation. And for me, it's the incredibly interesting story delivery method. So I'm about halfway through chapter 3, I think, at time of recording. How many chapters are there from memory? Do you know? 5? I'd say it's 5.
No. I think there's a fair few.
Shit. But yeah, so I'm about halfway through 3. What we on about, Crimson? We're talking about Alan Wake, the original, but the remaster. So yeah, like I'm digging it. But the thing that's got me most intrigued is the interesting way it tells the story. In that you're playing the story as you go along. However, scattered throughout the world are the manuscripts. So for those that are unaware, Alan Wake is a character in the game of Alan Wake. He is a writer.
There's 6 with 2 extras as DLC.
Sweet. So I'm about halfway through. Fantastic. Yeah, so they're a writer. They come to this little fucking town to sort of step away to try, because he's had a writer's block for a little bit of time, with the idea of going to this ye-old middle of butt-fuck nowhere town. He'll be able to reinvigorate that, right? Very quickly, things get weird and supernaturally. His wife goes missing. He's got to find his wife. But the fun part, when I mentioned the manuscript, right? So the manuscripts is the game. It's the story of the game. But the fun part is sometimes you find pages of events that have already happened, and some of them are events that are yet to happen. But because you have no context for them at the time, you go, huh? And that's not until later on when you go, oh. which has been fun. Sort of as in those early chapters, you find something, you go, that's interesting, and then a little bit later, you go, oh, well, there that is. And I find that fascinating, right? It's just a super engaging way, and admittedly, it's what's keeping me pulling forward is going and finding the next page to like flesh out the story a bit more. I do love the system with the flashlight. You know, it sort of weakens all the enemies, and then you can shoot them and they go away because everyone's all fucking shadow figures or something. I have to collect coffee thermoses, which I'm yet to work out what they do aside from just collecting them. Because I've got like over 25 of the bastards, and I have no idea what they do or why I have them. Which is fun, but yeah, like it is because it's set up very much in what we saw with Control, where Control wore its influences of Twin Peaks and the Twilight Zone, etc. on its sleeve. Same goes with Alan Wake, which is what Remedy really set up. What would become the larger Alan Wake universe, which is what Control is a part of, especially with the AWE DLC. Which now that once I finished Alan Wake, I'm very curious to play the AWE DLC and now have more context for how Control and Alan Wake talk to each other, which would be very interesting for me. Yeah, so like there's, you know, little TVs you can find, and you click on it and it shows you this almost very, very Twilight Zone little thing. They have the little blends of live action and gameplay, very similar to Control, in that, you know, when you'll sometimes see a TV with Alan Wake doing something, but it's played by a live actor rather than the in-game model. Yeah, look, so you're a big fan of Alan Wake from back in the day.
Yeah, so the original game came out in like 2010 from memory, and I think I played it like way back then when it was an Xbox exclusive. I haven't gone back to it. I might have to before. I mean, I say that as if Alan Wake 2 doesn't come out in like a fucking week.
Yeah, it's at time of recording, it's 5 days. So at time of release, 4 days. Comes out 27th.
So we'll see what happens.
But yeah, so with the new one sort of taking a lot of inspiration from like RE2 Remake, oh yeah. So if you can give me like manuscript collecting, which I had a sneaky look at the trophies, and you totally get to, so success. I've no idea how the game ends, so I'm unsure why it's taken so long to make a sequel and how you transition from 1 to 2.
Because they made Control in between.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. But in terms of like, well, obviously they waited so long for a particular story. Let's see what that story is like from a payoff perspective.
Maybe they had writer's block. They just went full meta.
Yeah, that'd be rad. Yeah, so that'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see that. They're also Crimson in the chat. They're also working on a remastered Max Payne. Now that would be tight, because there is a little Max Payne in this as well, which is fun. But yeah, I'm interested to see a remaster of Max Payne. I quite like the original Max Payne. Max Payne 2 was pretty sweet too. I think it's on my shelf. It is. I never got the second one. I did always mean to get the second one, but I never did. Yes, that's pretty much mostly what I've been playing. I did download Adventure Pals. It's like $4. That's from the Massive Monster, the guys that made Cult of the Lamb. With the idea is when I was at the panel, Paul James Dev Diary panel, he mentioned that, oh yeah, I made Adventure Pals. I went, oh yeah, because it was a game that I've always sort of had my interest, but I just never picked it up. But it has, once we sort of met the big head dev of Massive Monster and really sort of understood his tone, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Then I'm gonna dig Adventure Pals, because it's really tongue in cheek. It's stupid, silly, and weird. Not as taking itself seriously as Cult of the Lamb did, but still very fun. Let's see. So Crimson in the chat adds, they're working with Rockstar Games to remaster the first 2 games, which were originally made by Remedy prior to Alan Wake. That's true. They were made by Remedy, and then the IP was owned by Rockstar, which is why Max Payne 3 exists, which has nothing to do with Remedy. Keen to see what that does. But outside of that, I don't really play anything else, I don't think. Tekken 8 was up this weekend. I think it might still be up. On a benefit max, resets your progress, so you can correctly align your difficulty, so you can smoosh people.
Nice. Good to know.
It's good to know. What else? Was there anything else I've been playing? But that's pretty much it. Like I still have Mirage installed, haven't touched it. Have the other cool game that I can't talk about yet. Haven't really touched it. I booted it up and that was about it. But let me have a look. What else? Nope, that's about it. Oh, did I mention that I rolled credits on Immortals? No, I think I did that prior to last week. So, rolled credits on Immortals of Avium. The game is good. Really enjoyed it. It's a shame they're not doing a sequel. It did end in a very interesting way. Because we talked about this. You and I were chatting before we did this, the review discussion for Spider-Man. Yes. So thanks to EA, we had access to Immortals since launch. With Spider-Man, it did kind of throw me out of it, but then I came through, finished it off. Ending was a bit on the nose, but I really love the idea of what Immortals is. It is like a really good sort of AA space game, but it has a lot of AAA sensibilities, which is interesting, and I kind of wish it did better, knowing full well that half the team has since been sort of let go, which is a big old shame. But it's blending of magic and first-person shooting in like a Doom speed setting is very fun. The characters, like the writing is pretty good. Like there is a lot of that Forspoken-esque sort of energy in how it's written, but I find it to be more genuine and better. Like it's the quips etc. align with the characters and don't feel forced or written in there to deliver that tone specifically. I feel it does connect with the characters and sort of adds to who they are and what their motivations etc. and sort of how they become more friendly with each other over time. So that's certainly to its credit. Beautiful. Anything else you've been playing, Max?
Nah, that's it for me.
Beautiful. Let's just get into the section we call Informed Plays. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation.
Well, apparently, PlayStation is under pressure.
Under pressure.
Analysts believe PlayStation is under pressure to make a major gaming acquisition following Microsoft's successful purchase of Activision Blizzard earlier this month. Multiple industry experts spoke with GamesIndustry.biz and concurred Sony needs to make a purchase that would, quote, move the needle for them in a meaningful way. Sony has seen two large publishers potentially removed from its platforms this generation alone, although recent commentary from Xbox boss Phil Spencer suggests Activision Blizzard's catalog may not be excluded from its consoles entirely. Quote, whether you play on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, or mobile, you are welcome here, and will remain welcome even if Xbox isn't where you play your favorite franchise, end quote. PlayStation has been locking down longtime partners like Bluepoint and Housemarque in recent years, but the sheer scale of Microsoft's spending has quite literally changed the game.
Correct. So one of the things that has been in the rumor mill for like the longest time, and it's now that this deal has closed, and as you mentioned, there is this perceived pressure for PlayStation, Sony, and PlayStation to respond in some way. The rumor mill of PlayStation picking up, say, Take-Two or Square Enix or Bandai Namco are happening again. Before I mention my thoughts, would any of that interest you, Max, knowing how PlayStation choose to handle their acquisitions?
So, again, coming from this, I'm obviously a huge fan of Square Enix games. So having them be acquired by Sony would hopefully improve what they've already built.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, getting to use Sony as kind of that safety net. Hopefully they'll, granted, Final Fantasy 16 was, not by no means a safe game. For them to be able to take a little more risk, and after their hit or their misses in recent history with like the likes of fucking Marvel's Avengers and a few of the other games that have kind of just come out and gone away. I find that Square Enix is probably the most likely, also being a Japanese company. I don't think they would Take-Two's not in a position that it needs to sell itself. And by all accounts, Bandai Namco seems to be doing just fine.
Yeah.
So out of the three, the most likely would be Square Enix, because obviously they've taken a few big hits recently. But yeah, it's neither here or there. For the most part, like, they're already, a lot of their stuff is PlayStation exclusive anyway. So it wouldn't change too much in the grand scheme of things, most likely. But we'll see what happens.
I'm in a similar space to you, in that I believe that if they were to acquire anyone, it would either be a really small team. An example being, I think Remedy may have been considered previously, but I think they're done with. They've got to deal with Epic now, at least. We coincidentally talking about Alan Wake. Someone like Larian, obviously, that they're just with the success of Baldur's Gate, there's potential there for something cool. But whether they need to now, especially with the back of success of Baldur's Gate, like, would they be open to sell? Sorry, as you sort of pointed out, a Japanese, to reiterate that point, like, a Japanese company would make sense. Like Square Enix is the combination of Squaresoft and Enix. Pardon me, two previous Japanese companies that came together, same as Bandai Namco. Bandai and Namco used to be two separate companies, both two Japanese companies come together. So I think there is certainly a great interest in combining with that. And as you mentioned, a lot of the stuff is exclusive anyway. However, I think there are two ways that PlayStation could play this if they wanted to do it. They could play aggressive or petty. And I think the aggressive is buying and locking shit down. And that goes against what they're currently doing. But I also love the idea of them being petty. In that, let's just say they get Take-Two, right? So Take-Two, that comes with 2K, that comes with Rockstar and everything. And they have the money to do it. But what I would love is the statement is, hey, we've acquired Take-Two, the publisher of one of the biggest games ever in Grand Theft Auto 5.
Well,
and we are not making it exclusive. Like that's like we buy it, but we ain't. We're better than that. We have no need to lock shit down. Like, that's the petty route, but that does send, like, if they really want to sort of change that public perception, very similar with Bungie, like, they work autonomously. We just own them. That is how you do it. If they want to do about it.
Now that you brought that up, I'd like to skip ahead a section in the news and get this story underway. All right, go. So,
wait, which one? You want me to read it?
Yeah, do a new challenge approaches. Go for it.
All right, so as mentioned, new challenge approaches. With the exception of Nintendo, there's no question Sony is gaming's market leader, but its position is not going unopposed. As mentioned previously, Microsoft recently spent almost $70 billion on the Activision Blizzard King in order to bolster its competitive situation, while the likes of Amazon and even Apple are eyeing the space with cautious interest. Sony can't rest on its laurels then, and it looks like it's going to face stiff competition from an unlikely contender in Netflix moving forward. So those of you who subscribe to the streaming service will now know that members can already download a selection of mobile titles, and according to the Wall Street Journal, this catalog is set to get even stronger moving forward. The company is working on a big budget adaptation of its hit show like Squid Game and Wednesday. In fact, you may recall that Santa Monica Studios' art director was fairly recently headhunted by the firm. That is true. But it's not going to end there. According to the aforementioned outlet, Netflix has been in conversation with Take-Two to secure access to the impressively popular Grand Theft Auto franchise. It's unclear whether it's looking to line up a new title or he simply wants to make previous releases, like, for example, San Andreas, available to its subscribers. Either way, if it could get any of the Rockstar titles onto its platform, it'd be seen as an incredible coup. Of course, the rival's biggest bottleneck right now is that it's not a traditional console, but it's already exploring streaming technology to help deliver high-end games to those without the requisite hardware. The organization may have difficulty converting console players, however, as right now its titles use smartphones as an input method. Still, Sony will be keeping a close eye on developments, says
Imagine if Netflix got Grand Theft Auto.
Not happening. It's one of those things where the only
Jeez.
like unless I would argue here that it's the agreement of if we can get the old ones on here, there's your win.
Yeah,
That's the
for sure.
selling point. But in terms of any exclusivity and acquisition, not going to happen
Oh, no,
because
of
like
course.
we've seen. I think Netflix owns. They bought a studio semi recently, and it was one that I remember we all kind of went, oh. I think Telltale. No, not Telltale. Ah, shit. What was it?
Find it.
Oh, where's
Nah,
Park when you need him?
They bought Spry Fox.
No, that's not mine. I don't care about that one.
Who else do they own?
Either way, that ain't gonna happen. And the reason I asked is, so what I'd imagine and what would be interesting would be, if PlayStation choose to go it was Spry Fox. Okay, well, it must have been someone. Then that's not what I'm thinking of. Then I'm thinking of someone else that got brought in. And
That was their 6th studio.
oh, okay. Well, either way, so like if they choose to sort of be petty about it and go for the PR play and still buy a major company like this, but then because that hits a couple different beats. It hits from a consumer standpoint, as in we don't do it the way you do. We're better than that. But also following it up with the scenario of we're going to make money on every time that someone on your console or PC plays Grand Theft Auto, one of the most lucrative games to ever exist. Like Square Enix is a give. It makes sense, as you mentioned, like from a Japanese company with a real focus on sort of JRPGs. Netflix have brought 3 studios: Boss Fight Entertainment, Night School Studio, and Next Games, says Malt Show. None of those are the ones I'm thinking of. I must have made something up. That happens sometimes. Admittedly, because I had a late day, my meds started later in the day. I'm actually coming off my meds now, which normally I'm already off them, so scatterbrain is going to be a whole hot mess. What would you think would be a more like? Do you reckon they would do the grab and hold close, or they'd be sneaky about it?
Sorry for what?
Whether like if they were to acquire someone, would they go the hold them to our chest, or go with the it'll be available everywhere?
I guess it depends on what they get, because obviously Bungie were kind of like, we're not going to sell unless we get to be everywhere. We don't want to be an exclusive studio.
But also from a business standpoint, Bungie makes stack of coins, so why would you sacrifice more coins?
Yeah, so it'll it's one of those things. It's hard to tell now that Jim Ryan's going to be gone. I'm less inclined for them to be hold it close. I feel like if anyone was going to be petty, it'd be Jimbo.
Good old Jimbo. Yeah.
But I mean, as it stands, like even if they were to buy Square Enix, they could leave them running exactly how they are, and just have get those timed exclusives on the Final Fantasy games, and then just everything else goes everywhere.
Yeah.
From a money making perspective, they're disincentivized to make everything exclusive.
Yeah. But the advantage, it's disincentivized from a business, but like you can also have the fun of the perception of it. Being like, we're better than Microsoft. We don't lie. We ain't gonna say that we won't make exclusive. Because like once again, that comment from Phil Spencer is so full of shit. Whether you play on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, or mobile, you are welcome here, and you'll remain welcome. It's continued garbage that comes out of his mouth that sits on just nonsense. And look, don't get me wrong, Jim Ryan was the exact fucking same. Like, they should really stop letting Phil Spencer speak. Because on top of this as well, and this is what's interesting. I don't know whether you put it in the news. Let me have a quick squeeze down there. Look at those quick bits.
If you tell me what it is, I'll tell you.
You didn't put it in there. So, like Pete Hines, who was the marketing director, I believe, for Bethesda Softworks, and Bethesda's a bigger company.
Oh yeah, he's
for
retired.
the longest time. So he's allegedly retiring.
I think it was 24 years or something like that.
Yeah, and this is something that was brought up in another podcast. And they're like, this dude bled Bethesda, right? And it does seem interesting that he's kind of bouncing at this moment in time. Everything sort of closes up. So it's kind of one that, with the ABK stuff especially, like, is he bouncing because he was due to retire? Or is this him going... Because like if we look at those conversations that happened as part of the discovery process for the ABK deal, like you can see that there is a lot of frustration between him and Microsoft.
Yeah, so Hines was senior vice president and head of publishing at Bethesda.
Thank you. Yeah, the marketing was part of his space at one point because he'd be the one that would wheel out when he would talk about anything upcoming. So my apologies on the mix-up, but thank you, Max, for the correction.
I mean, it makes sense. He's the head of publishing, so he's the one who's going out there and
It always seemed like a great dude. He seemed like a cool dude.
He joined. Yeah, so he's been with them for 24 years, and he joined their marketing department in 1999.
Yeah, there you go. So funny enough, like part of me kind of went, "Ooh, what if he becomes the new head of PlayStation? Wouldn't that be a fucking laugh?" Well, what have you read?
I'm just having a look because apparently he's not the only person leaving. There's a few lead devs on Starfield have also left.
Oof. And it is interesting. Like, I admittedly, as much as I would find it funny if this was like, a giant purge, but also not really. Like, now that their big game's done and they're part of a bigger company, and we'll see the same thing within ABK as well. He's like, well, we don't really need 2 overall marketing leads because they have one, and then a new one comes in. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to... There'll be a lot of potential double up of roles that will no longer be relevant.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So expect there be some restructuring, as there always is, and maybe people will leave or get moved around. And that's to be expected. But, like, knowing that this still happened a while ago, and it was like, yeah, I guess we'll see Starfield through and then go from there, it's probably there to sit where we're looking. Like, I wouldn't have seen Pete Hines leave during the production of Starfield.
Oh no, that'd be...
And knowing that like Elder Scrolls and or the next Fallout are either not happening or super far away, it would make sense for them to go now if they were to ever go.
Sure. Alright, some chance. A new report from reliable PlayStation Plus leaker Bill Kun says Sony will launch its new PlayStation 5 hardware model for it first in a Marvel Spider-Man 2 bundle on the 8th of November this year. The new console will then be available standalone 2 days later on the 10th of November, it is suggested. Sony has only publicly confirmed the updated system will release in November. The Marvel Spider-Man 2 bundle will apparently run you about $560 US, presumably including a digital code for the game. Sony will also release a digital-only version for the updated hardware, which ships with either the option of attaching a disk drive later on. This will make it about $50 cheaper US. Said to be 30% smaller than its original model and either 18% or 24% lighter, the internal SSD will be upgraded to a 1TB SSD. Once stock of the original PlayStation 5 has been sold through, this slimmer model will become the default option. Sony has said it will start shipping in November across the USA, with other territories handed stock in the coming months.
Yeah, so we talked about this last week when they announced the arrival of the Slim. Talked about its fancy pants, expensive base, its reduction in size, but somehow an increase in price. And the thing that it's that
extra 180 gig on the SSD.
Well, I don't know. I think this is when you may have left the desk last week. Because part of me was like, well, didn't they have a big hoot and holler about
I was
where it needed to be 825 or whatever the fuck because of the bandwidth of the SSD? Like, has that been resolved, or is that
they've had 3 years to resolve it.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I don't know, like whether I'm not looking in the right spaces, but I haven't seen that question be answered.
Has that question been asked?
That's what I'm
apart
saying.
From yourself,
but yeah, it's one of those things where when they they explained it was 825 for a very specific reason. They're like, oh, it's for this and that, the other. What's up, Trav Dog? How you doing? So yeah, I hope that's been rectified, or otherwise that's another interesting honk of garbage. Which is interesting. Are you trying to find some source? I appreciate that because I'm also full of trash.
The reason why the PS5 SSD is 825 is because it's specially made for the console and is a perfect match for the 12-channel flash interface. It allows the PS5 SSD to process data as quickly as it does. Console ships with A25 SSD. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my guess is over the last 3 years they've just made a fucking new SSD.
All right. Guess we'll find out.
Like, yeah.
Cool.
Or they just don't care now because everyone's put extra storage on their consoles anyway, and no one's complained like, oh my god, I can super tell the difference between the shit that's on my M2 drive versus my actual drive, and they're just like, well, no one notices, just fuck it, we'll just put a normal SSD
Yeah.
in there.
Well, once again, it's that same thing as like, you know, performance. Like, majority of people don't give a shit about frame rates, right? Like, it's confirmed. Like, through heat mapping and people are seeing how people play, no one fucking cares. So like, if a game doesn't run it, you know, even now everyone's like, oh, you know, games should be running at 60. Most people play quality mode on average,
Which is crazy.
It's insane. It's utterly insane.
I get annoyed at like the slightest jitter.
All right. A spin-off, Max. So Marvel Spider-Man 2, which was released a couple of days ago, and already Insomniac Games is being quizzed on what comes next. Because, of course, they are. That's the games industry, and it's poo. Just enjoy what you have for a minute, you dorks. Below, we know the developer has Marvel's Wolverine in the works, which is exciting, but could a Venom spin-off game also be on the cards, Max? Dun dun dun. It's an option the studio seems to be up for exploring, if the fans want it after they've finished the team's latest open worlder. Speaking to Insider, senior narrative director John Paquette was quizzed on the possibility of a spin-off game focused entirely on Venom. Quote, so here's what we're doing. We're focused on Spider-Man 2, and what we're going to do is we're going to wait to see how the fans react, end quote. More quote, we're going to listen to the fans and we're going to ask ourselves, okay, what do the fans really want? Paquette then teases that Insomniac will, quote, kind of talk about stuff, end quote, once the team has had time to sleep and take vacations, presumably after Christmas. Venom is one of the main villains of Marvel Spider-Man 2 alongside Kraven, but the story is predominantly centered around the lives of Peter Parker and Miles Morales. So one of the things we discussed in our spoiler review, which you can go check out here on this channel, is the potential for another season of DLC. In that, obviously we're not going to spoilers or specific details here, but there are enough threads that you could build out another city, the city that never sleeps or whatever, right? Having played the game and seeing where Venom is, the only way this would work is in DLC, because there's not enough gap in inception or explanation of when the symbiote arrives to how it resolves at the end of the game. Like, we experience it in real time. So unless it's, you know, when the symbiote was in high school and we get to see him, you know, coming of age of a symbiote, I don't know where else they would tell this story. And because, like, you know, we can, you know, people can, it's not spoilers, but it's just like, you have it's a comic book movie, right? Game, right? You have an idea of how it all comes down together in the end. So it makes me wonder where they're going to go. And I hope the answer is DLC. Would you play a Venom spin-off, Max?
Hell yeah.
Oh, I'd fucking play it in a heartbeat. But, like, how do you think they could go about this without spoilers, obviously?
Without spoilers, it's rough. I pretty much mirror what you said. I think it's the safest way to do it without spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Quick bits. Keeping in tune with Marvel Spider-Man 2 post-launch updates to add New Game Plus and a mission replay function.
Which is
Silent
good,
Hill
because right now, like when I was hunting the platinum, I had some difficulty because one of the platinums is like get 25 takedowns from your web line. I'm like, yeah, no worries. But then once I'd finished the game, like, the only way I could do it, because you can't replay missions, you can't replay hunter bases or whatever, I had to just go find random crimes and hope that I could stealth my way in a little bit, build a rope, and then silent strike 2 people, and then they go, oi! And then I'd have to fight them, and then fuck off again, and find another one and repeat until I got the end. So be able to just, like, I'm just going to pull a mission, and just, like, I know that's a stealthy one, done.
Yeah.
And New Game Plus would be cool, because right now my son wants to play the game again now that he's finished it, but he doesn't want to unlock all the suits and stuff again. I'm like, yeah, well, we're going to have to wait for New Game Plus, bud.
Silent Hill Ascension, the interactive TV series from Konami, is almost here with the first episode airing on the 31st of October. Are you excited for Silent Hill
I
Ascension?
thought that was a thing, and y'all watch it. It'd be sick.
Xbox chief Phil Spencer appeared on a podcast this week to confirm that the series will continue. The series, that being Call of Duty, will continue to have 100% parity on PlayStation consoles.
Oh, that's gonna bite him in the bum.
And as we mentioned earlier, get Alan Wake 2 ready with Alan Wake Flashback created in Fortnite with help from Remedy.
Bold strategy, Cotton. Cool. Or you could just play Alan Wake. Do that. It's probably better. Excuse me.
Or watch a fucking YouTube video.
Yeah, all that. Yeah. All right. So here are the games that are coming out this week. Max, get excited.
Which is what I might end up doing.
Oh, coming to the 24th of October is Archetype Arcadia, PS5, PS4. Cry Machina. Pardon me, PS5, PS4.
It's definitely Cry Machina.
Cry Machina.
Cry Machina.
Crymachina. Machina.
It's definitely Cry Machina.
Yeah. Love a good Machina. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 coming to PS5 and PS4. Get excited. I am.
Implicating there's a Volume 2?
Yes.
Maybe.
So that one, it brings together, from memory, it was Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, plus the Metal Gear Solid Snake, like the old shitty, the thingy ones. Them.
The 2D side scrollers.
Yeah, them ones. Whatever system they're on, I can't remember.
I kind of want to play Pickleball Smash now.
It's a good name. Pickleball Smash.
What the fuck is Pickleball Smash?
I love how you just pulled. Let's go and look at anything, but neither have I. 25th of October, Postal Brain Damaged, PS5, PS4. Postal. Wasn't Postal that game that was like super ultra mega violent?
Yeah, where like a post office worker went postal.
Yeah, which explains why the brain damage part comes in. They might be brain damaged, want to try to bring that game back. Stray Souls, PS5, PS4. Swap Shot coming to PS5. Hey Max, you thought that game was going to be... You thought Pickleball Smash was your one. I don't mean to alarm you. 26th of October, Frog Detective, the entire mystery. Not some of it, all of it. The entire mystery.
Oh, no, this looks good.
What, Pickleball?
Yeah.
What is it? Tell me about it.
Experience the thrill of pickleball like never before. Hone your skills in single-player mode or challenge your friends in multiplayer fun, where every match is a test of skill, strategy, and agility. Get ready to serve, dink, and smash away to victory in the thrilling world of Pickleball Smash. Can you handle the heat? I can definitely handle the heat of Pickleball Smash.
Puck does ask, but what are they going to leave for DLC and or a sequel? What about Pickleball 2?
Pickle all the ball.
Pickle all ball. Pickle balls. They just put an S on the end. It's an Alien versus Aliens. Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord coming to PS5 and PS4. Ghost Runner 2. It's talking about the entire Frog. Yeah, Frog Detective, the entire mystery. It'd be Frog Detective. There was some part that we left out. The only way.
Maybe the frog dies at the end and it's Frog Detective Who Killed the Frog.
Ooh. Who Framed Frog Detective? I want to watch that again. I haven't watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit in years. Ghost Runner 2, PS5. Journey to Foundation, PS5. Minako's Night Market, PS5, PS4. What? Sudama Relation, PS4. World of Horror, PS5. On the 27th, we get Aka, which is ARRH, PS5. You fucking made up half this shit. You just don't want to read it, Max. Alan Wake 2 coming to PS5. Desolatium coming to PS5. DreamWorks Trolls Remix Rescue, PS5, PS4. EA Sports UFC 5 coming to PS5, which looks fucking mad. Like the real life damage that you can cause someone in UFC 5 looks exceptional. And I spoke to the EA rep last time at PAX, and I was like, "Come on, fucking UFC, like just kick some people's fucking shit in. It'd be awesome." And then finally, Star Trek Resurgence, PS5.
So Aka is a real game.
Oh no.
Made by Atari.
Oh.
And it's an old fucking voxel asteroid style shoot shit game.
Oh, there you go.
It's no pickleball smash.
No,
Is what I'm trying to say.
We all wish that we could be pickleball smash. All right, clearly the standout is Frog Detective: The Entire Mystery. It's the standout.
No, there's a few big ones this week.
Yeah, this week is pretty insane, actually. Obviously, Metal Gear's a biggie. If you
Ghost Runner 2.
Ghost Runner 2 is also a biggie, which has been in a lot of... So that's two games that have been pretty prominent in state of plays. Alan Wake 2 is certainly a biggie. UFC looks to be interesting if it's for the right niche. And then, of course, the other one that I can't seem to remember where the fuck it went. No, that was it.
That was it.
Anyway, beautiful. Frog Detective Endgame. There you go. Yeah, Frog Detective 2, even more problems. And they have to come back and do it all again. Either done. All right, well, thank you very much for joining us, everyone. We really appreciate everyone that takes the time to come and listen to our fucking nonsense for about an hour or so every week. We really appreciate it. There's 100,000 better things you should do with your time, but we thank you for still wanting to do that with us.
Playing Spider-Man 2.
Play Spider-Man 2. It's a good time. But of course, as I mentioned, if you haven't already, please check out our reviews for Spider-Man 2. There's a spoiler-free review, a spoiler-full review. There is an unboxing and the most adorable Let's Play you've ever seen with my 6-year-old son. Please go check them out. Give it some support. We would much appreciate it. They are all available on your podcast service of choice also.
Apparently GTA 6 is currently trending because we're getting a trailer in the next week or two, according to Twitter randos.
Yeah, I'll get excited when I see it. Oh, all right. The chat's having fun with Frog Detective. We've got Frog Detective Identity, Frog Detective Supremacy, Frog Detective Ultimatum. Oh yeah, Jeremy Renner returns as the Frog Detective Legacy, and then the new reboot, Frog Detective 2027. That's sick. You know, Frog Detective, the Frog Awakens, the Phantom Frog, the Phantom Amphibian. All right, beautiful. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm the Frog Detective.
He is. And that was for the players.